Okay, so for today's bit of notes, we have quadratics, trinomials, and factoring. So we are factoring trinomials that are quadratics. And let's go ahead and take a look at this. So we have our x squared plus 8x plus 15. And what you'll notice is that to solve these, the easiest is usually just to work actually backwards. We're going to be looking at factors of 15, and that's what this number 1 here represents. Is that's actually the first thing you look at and the first thing you do is identify your factors. So 1 times 15 and 3 times 5. So first, factors of 15, and then number 2, if this is a plus sign, that means that add. Okay, because the signs are going to be the same in order to get that plus sign. So they must add together. Step 3 is to add together to equal positive 8. And step 4 is actually looking at this plus sign. When the signs are the same and you're adding, that means that the factors are both going to be positive because the signs have to be the same. Okay? Same signs. And so you know that. So the only factors up here that add to 8 are 3 and 5, and if they both have the same signs, then it'd be a plus 3 and a plus 5, and they both have to be positive. So my factor is x plus 3, x plus 5. And if we were to actually multiply through, x squared, inners 3x, outers 5x, which combines to give us 8x, and then 3 times 5 gives us 15. So we did it correctly. So that's one of the methods that you'll see. There's 4 main ways, combinations that you'll see these. The next is to have a positive here, but a negative here. So again, we do our same 1, 2, 3, 4 to solve this. So I need factors of 15. Step 2 says that they add together because again, they're the same sign. That's what plus means. If they're add together, they have to have the same sign. But 3 is to equal negative 8. And since this is a negative and we're adding them together, that means my 4th bit of information says if they're both the same and I get a negative answer, the only way you can do that is if both the factors are negative. So if you have a negative number and a negative number, then the numbers get larger and actually add together to get larger. So the only ones that can do that would be negative 3 and 5, and if they're both negative, then I get x minus 3, x minus 5. So factors of 15, 5 and 3, that add, so the signs have to be the same, negative and negative, and they add to equal 8, negative 3, negative 5, negative 8, and both of the signs were negative. Perfect. So let's look at our third option. Our third option is doing this one here, is when we actually have a negative here and a positive here. So same basic process, factors of 20, but instead of that add, that are now going to subtract, which because one sign is going to be different, one factor is going to be a positive and the other factor is going to be a negative, and we don't know which one's which yet. That's the only way you can subtract, is if there's a positive and a negative. That subtract or plus negative to equal 1. And since after subtracting I was left with a positive number, that means my largest factor had to have been positive. So The only ones that subtract to equal 1 are 4 and 5. My largest factor was positive, so that means my positive 5 and a negative 4. And that becomes my factor. So the last possible combination that you'd see is with double negatives, but the process stays pretty much the same. We have factors of 24 that subtract, so one's going to be positive, one's going to be negative, to equal negative 5, and the largest factor is going to be negative. So factors that subtract to equal 5 and the largest factor is negative means that I have something that looks like this. Right? And a quick bit of notes is to say that it doesn't matter if you have it written like this or like this, as long as what's inside the binomials stays the same. Okay, I hope this helped.